what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing Team King Games. So today I'm gonna go over one of the most underrated archetypes, Gym Knights. Now, Gym Knights are such an incredible deck. They fuse like no other. I believe firmly to this day, even Elemental Heroes cannot match Gym Knights on the fusing. Gym Knights literally have, I think like 8 or 9 different actual fusion cards. And I love to play all of them, well, as many as I can fit in the deck. I really love the archetype a lot, and it's never been a meta deck per se. You can't really say Gym Knights were one of the best decks at one point in time. They never really were. They just kind of always got overshadowed, and they've just been a rogue deck from the jump. Now I do admit they increased in popularity for literally like 1 week when Brilliant Fusion came out, and we got this chick right here, Gym Knight Lady and Brilliant Diamond. And people were playing Gym Knight Burn, you know, they were playing that for like a week and it just died right back down. It was literally just a hype. But I've loved this deck since this came out. For those of you who have kept up with my channel from the beginning, you know that I'm also a Hidden Arsenal advocate. Not only do I love the decks from Hidden Arsenal, but I actually love the lore. And I've learned about all, you know, how all the decks tie into each other. Now, Gym Knights are actually from the era where Gustos, Lavals, Yishkis, Constellars, and Evil Swarms took place, which was pretty interesting. And right before that, it was like Steel Swarms and Pylons going at it in Worms, and what are they called? The Hidden Mist, you know, the Mist Valley chicks, not the chicks, but the Mist Valley deck itself. So Gym Knights are from the era where you know, basically the Evil Swarms were dominating, and they were like how Shaddolls are now. And Shaddolls and the new Challengers Duelist Alliance is actually a continuation of this lore. And there's a Gym Knight actually known as Gym Knight Diamond, who became the Shaddol Grista, the Fire Fusion. That's actually a Gym Knight. And the Anti-Luminescent Knight, the rank 4, that's actually a Gym Knight as well, infected with Shaddol, you know, darkness. But anyways, that's just a little bit of background information on this deck. I do love this deck very, very much. I feel that Gym Knights are an incredible deck, even in lane format. They're amazing. They happen to be Earth monsters, which allows them to abuse, what do you think, Mrs. Radiant a lot better than most decks, because, you know, not only, of course Zeus can abuse, you know, the Mrs. Radiant, but not only are they all Earths and they fuse like no other, but when the Mrs. Radiant dies, it actually adds you back your fusion fodder, which most of the time will be Lazuli, which Lazuli would then add something else back. So having the Mrs. Radiant in the deck gives it recovery. But we're gonna hop right into this deck profile without any further rambling. So starting off with the monster lineup, we played 3 copies of Gym Armadillo. This guy is the Stratos of the Gym Knight archetype. He just doesn't have Gym Knight in his name. Now, I wanted very badly to play a monster known as Gym Knight Alexander, but I just feel that he's not very worth the normal summon, but basically he has an effect where you can tribute him and special summon any normal Gym Knight monster. And I just felt he just wasn't worth it for the lineup. But I've had this deck for actually 5 years, I think. 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 5 years. That's how long I've had the Gym Knights. They're amazing. I love this deck so much. They're so fun. But basically, when he's normal summon, you can add a Gym Knight monster from your deck to your hand. It's not once per turn, so keep that in mind, because you do actually play Seraphonite, which lets you double summon, so you can drop 2 Armadillos if you have them in your hand. And I love this guy's artwork personally. Well, I love the artwork of all the Gym Knights, because they literally are gems. You know, they're precious rare minerals that are worth a lot of money. But I love the artwork of Gym Turtle because he has that fat, juicy emerald on his back, and he's just so beautiful. Most Gym Knight players just sleep on this card. I think he's great as an alternative option to get you to Gym Knight, especially if you're not playing the Magical Hats build. The Magical Hats build is kind of like a hit or miss thing, and it's just a different build. Now, you guys are more than welcome to play the Magical Hats build, but I just believe that Gym Knights have always been good just as they are, and you don't really need to add extra stuff to throw them off from their playstyle. But it is a good card. I admit the Magical Hats does work, and I've tested it out. I've tested a lot of different variations on this deck. But the Gym Turtle basically lets you add Gym Knight Fusion from your deck to your hand. And Gym Knight Fusion is actually the most broken fusion spell in the existence of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! To this day, Konami has not made a fusion spell with such longevity. You can literally fuse like 7 times in 1 turn off of 1 Gym Knight Fusion, that 1 spell. So once you get 1, you only need 1, and you're only really supposed to have 1, because if you have an extra one, it kind of sucks, because you don't need it. Moving forward with the monster lineup, we're also playing 3 copies of Gym Knight Lazuli. This card is spiking in price for some odd reason. And I'm not sure what people are doing with it, but I'm sure people have figured out something crazy with this chick. She basically, if she's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, she can add any normal monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is amazing for the Gem Knight archetype, because when you fuse with her, she lets you keep fusing. And she is one of the fusion materials that will actually pay for themselves, so you get your resources back. In tandem with her, we have 3 copies of Gem Knight Obsidian. Now, Obsidian and Lazuli are the best monsters to fuse with because they practically pay for themselves. Now, Lazuli will let you add from graveyard to hand, and Obsidian will actually special summon 1 level 4 or lower normal monster from your graveyard, which is amazing that Lazuli and Obsidian are actually generic for normal monsters. So you can find a way to abuse them in any deck that runs with normal monsters. For example, if you wanted to play some crazy funky thing with World Chalices and Gem Knights will help to boost the playability of World Chalices because they recycle and also special summon to the field. That's just food for thought. It's something that I might actually do. I might do a World Chalice Gem Knight, you never know. But these are the best monsters to fuse with, and I love their artwork. They are beautiful, so beautiful. They're actually a combination of Crystal Beasts and Elemental Heroes, if you guys didn't know that. I do my research on my decks and I learned the lores. You know, even with the True Kings and True Dracos being natural enemies to each other, and Cristrons and Manifolds and Zodiacs actually being, you know, kind of like the good guys. But anyways, moving forward with the monster lineup, we also played 2 copies of Gem Knight Amber. Now, she is amazing. She is a Gemini, so obviously you're going to need to double summon her, which is pretty easy to do in the deck. Before Link format, there is actually a broken 3-card combo in this deck that revolved with her. And you would basically need to open up with Brilliant Fusion, Gem Knight Fusion, and an Obsidian. And you can literally make any rank 8, any rank 5, burn the crap out of your opponent, and still end with 5 cards in your hand, which made it a completely free field. And I technically look at that as a +3. And it was any rank 8. Most people would go straight for Failgrand and Artifact Durandal because they give you ultimate disruption. But you could go for any rank 8 and any rank 5 that's generic off those 3 cards. It's a little bit more difficult to do now because we're in Link format, but it's still possible. But she makes the combos possible. What she does is banish 1 Gem Knight, and I believe it's just a Gem Knight card if I'm not mistaken. Most of the time I use her for a monster. So she does banish 1, so there we go. So she can send 1 Gem Knight card from your hand to the graveyard and target, there we go, target one of your banished monsters. Add that to your hand. Notice how it just says banished monsters. So she works, a lot of these Gem Knights actually work in any deck, which is pretty cool. Decks that revolve around normals and decks that banish a lot, Amber is great for those because she sends a Gem Knight card from your hand to the grave, and you can add any banished monster from your banish zone to your hand, and she does not target, which is pretty amazing. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check that. It's been a while since I've read her effect because I know already. I use it most of the time, never really read it because I already know what it does. But let's see if this says target. Alright, so she targets one of your banished monsters. So keep that in mind, because targeting can be kind of a weak thing at certain points in the game. But she's amazing because she recycles anything banished, including if you banish a fusion, you can add it from your banish zone back to your extra deck. So she allows you to recycle a lot of your stuff, and she enables your plays to continue because you can banish, for example, Obsidian from your Gem Knight Fusion to add it from your graveyard to your hand, then use her effect, discard Gem Knight Fusion, add Obsidian from your banish zone to hand, and then banish another one and add Gem Knight Fusion back and fuse again. It's just crazy. I love the way the deck works. It's incredible. 2 copies of Gem Knight Sardonyx. This guy is really, really amazing, actually. Now, notice how I'm not playing the actual normal monsters. I'm playing the Geminis of the Gem Knights. I've tested out builds with the normal monsters. The normal monsters are really good, and there are specific Gem Knight fusions that actually list them as materials, which if you're playing those Gem Knight fusions, you would need to play those monsters. Now, I am actually not playing, you know, Gem Knight Ruby, and there is a couple Gem Knight fusions that have specific names that I play, but for the most part, I like the Geminis because they still act as normal monsters, which does not take away from Lazuli's blessing and the benefits of Obsidian, but they also give you the additional effect they have in themselves. So I feel that you get more value out of these cards than you would out of, for example, Garnet, Sapphire, and Tourmaline. Although I place certain ratios on a few of them, but not all of them, simply because these are normal monsters, which still benefits the deck because the deck needs normal monsters to function. But you can also get extra value out of your Seraphonite. Because most of the time, the only time Seraphonite's going to be good if you were just playing not the Geminis, but the normal monsters. Like, you know, Garnet, for example, you would basically, the only time Seraphonite will be good is when you have 2 armadillos. And that's not always going to happen. So it's nice to have the Geminis because you can double summon them on Seraphonite, use their effects, and they all actually add to your hand. She adds from Banish Zone to your hand. Sardonyx actually adds any Gemnite card from your deck to your hand, which is amazing. He's basically the Rhoda / Stratos of the deck, searching any Gemnite card, which is incredible, dude. I also play one Isletite or Islite. Now, he's a little different. He has a 2000 booty, and his effect, he's a Gemnite as well. He lets you banish a Gemnite card from your graveyard, and then add 1 Gemnite card from your graveyard to your hand. It's weird that he banishes from grave to add from grave, but he basically adds from grave to hand. He adds from deck to hand, and she adds from Banish Zone to hand. So if your cards get sent anywhere, you have a way to get them back. If your opponent banishes, you can get it back. If your opponent, you know, destroys it, you can get it back. If your opponent shuffles it to the deck, you can get it back. So there's no way that your opponent can lock you out from your plays. You have a way to get anything back no matter what happens to it, which I find to be insane because this deck has that good recovery. I look at that as incredible recovery. It's just amazing. I play 1 Tourmaline. Now, the reason I play Tourmaline is because I play Gemnite Topaz. There is a powerful OTK that revolves around Particle Fusion and Gemnite Tourmaline, where you make Topaz at 3600 attack, and he can attack twice, which is insane. It's 7200 right off the bat. And because this deck is so powerful and is able to just put so much pressure on the board, that is an OTK in itself. And I also play 1 Gemnite Sapphire. The reason why I'm playing Sapphire is because I play her fusion, which is known as Gemnite Aquamarine. Aquamarine and Topaz are the only specific name-listed fusions that I play in my extra deck. All the other ones basically say either a Rock type, a Pyro type, an Aqua type, or a Thunder type. And Tourmaline helps me out a lot also because he's my Thunder type, in addition to my Gemnite Amber, so it gives me 3 Thunders in my main deck, which helps me out a lot because one of my favorite fusions to go into is actually Gemnite Prismara. He can destroy any face-up card, which I find to be pretty broken, just clearing problems out of your way so you can continue to push. 1 Gemnite Lapis. Lapis is here because she enables you to go into your Lapis Lazuli. Lapis Lazuli is really overpowered and broken fusion who can literally just game your opponent. She's on par to a level of how Trick Stars can burn you, basically. Lapis Lazuli can just kill you just by bringing her out. It's amazing. Oh my goodness. When we get to the extra deck, you'll see what I'm talking about. I play 1 Crystal Rose. Crystal Rose is your brilliant fusion target to get into Gemnite Seraphonite. In addition to that, it has its own effect. It works with Melodiouses as well, but you can banish a Gemnite fusion from your graveyard and special summon this card to your field from your graveyard. Once it's engraved, basically it brings itself back, and it has a once per turn effect that says you can send 1 Gemnite or Melodious card, Melodious monster from your deck to your graveyard, and this card's name becomes that monster's name, and this card's effect becomes that monster's effect, which is really cool because you can actually special summon Crystal Rose from the graveyard, send Gemnite Amber from your deck to the grave. She gains that effect, then you can conduct your normal summon for the turn and normal summon Crystal Rose, and she will get the effect of Gemnite Amber, which is insane. I really like that a lot, and there are just so many different ways you can abuse this card. But another important thing to keep in mind is it's the only light that I play personally in my main deck for my Brilliant Fusion to bring out Seraphonite. Now, if you happen to draw into your light and you can't send a light from your deck to, you know, your grave off Brilliant Fusion for Seraphonite, you can utilize this beautiful woman right here to bring out any fusion that has Gemnite in its name. That will sum up the monster lineup. And I really love how this deck works, and it's doing so well. It's been doing well since I picked the deck up 5 years ago, and it's been through a lot of changes. It's just one of those decks I just can never let go of. I just love underrated archetypes. You guys know how I am. My favorite summoning mechanic is Rituals, which, you know, it's weird, but my style is just a little different. I like that stuff that just really doesn't seem good to other people, and I'll always find a way to make it work, and it kind of clarifies what I tell people. I tell a lot of my fans and subscribers, do not believe the hype. Don't listen to what people tell you. If somebody says an archetype is bad, you can prove them wrong, because it's not the deck, it's the person who builds it. I mean, me and my homies, we can take a pile of random cards from a structure deck and this structure deck, or just random trades or stuff from our tins and leftover, you know, extra staples, and just make a crazy deck. And it doesn't even have to have a theme name. It doesn't have to have, you know, center focus on, like, for example, all all metal foes. It could just be a bunch of random decks. That's how my Synchro deck was back in the day when I ran a Synchron deck. I ran Synchrons and I ran a bunch of random monsters that just got themselves on the field, like Photon Thrasher, the Tricky, Cyber Dragon. I just ran weird stuff, and I ran this monster called Kron the Mage. It was a deck, but it just didn't have a name. For example, if I'm making sense, Gym Knights is a deck focused on the Gym Knight archetype itself. You can make any deck with any cards, you just really have to know what you're doing. And that's why I say any deck is good, it just depends who's building it, because you really have to know what you're doing. Because you can build a great deck but not play it right, and then the deck would not be good because you don't know how to use it. But anyways, moving forward to the spells, we are playing 3 copies of Absorb Fusion. This is basically the other searcher of the deck. Gym Knights have a lot of ways to get to what they need, and also they can search and recycle and spam, which I find to be a very, very well-balanced archetype, in my opinion. Absorb Fusion lets you add any Gym Knight card from your deck to your hand, and it has a secondary effect that it's optional, but after you add a Gym Knight card from your deck to your hand, you can apply this secondary effect that lets you fusion summon by banishing the fusion materials you control to special summon the Gym Knight. Now, that actually may come up in your certain duels when you have your Gym Knight Amber ready to use her effect. You'll use Absorb Fusion to actually give her targets and then add one of those banished monsters, like for example, an Obsidian from the banished zone to the hand, and then you can link summon, for example, using the Gym Knight Fusion that you just brought out, and another Earth, because all your Gym Knight Fusions are Earth, and then you can continue to fuse anyways. So it can be a searcher, it can be a combo extender. Sometimes it's your only way to fuse and get a field presence. So it really is a benefit that this card not only is a searcher, which adds any Gym Knight card from your deck to your hand, but it lets you fuse. So it's a powerful, powerful spell. And this came out in core, the core support, which was the Seraphinite, not the Seraphinite, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. I think it was Seraphinite, Brilliant Fusion, Absorb Fusion, and also Gym Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond, which just made Gym Knights crazy. It really did. It helped them out so much. I was excited when that support came out. I was like, dude, my Gym Knights are going places now. 3 copies of Gym Knight Fusion. You do not have to actually play this at 3. Once you get 1, you're good, but obviously you want to play that 3 so that you can see it, because once you have 1, you've got it. You're good to go. You can just make all of your plays off of 1 Gym Knight Fusion. To this day, there is no fusion spell card, obviously with better artwork either. Shut-Off Fusion is actually the opposite of this, but there's no better fusion spell card than Gym Knight Fusion, simply because there is no restriction of once per turn in this card at all. And not only can you activate it as much as you want, but depending on how your graveyard looks, you can use it as much as you want. You just fuse, banish a Gym Knight monster, add this from grave to hand. It's even better than Gishki Aqua Mirror, because Gishki Aqua Mirror puts itself back to the deck, whereas this adds itself back to the hand. It is the best fusion spell that Konami has ever made, and only this archetype has access to a powerful spell like this one. And if you notice in the artwork of Shut-Off Fusion, you can see that it's literally just like this, but just evil. The Shut-Offs are actually connected with the Gym Knights, because the Shut-Off core, which is the source of Construct's power, Shut-Off Nefla is actually her name, or she's like a half-angel being. The Shut-Off core, its power came from the Gym Knight's core fusion power, which actually belonged to Gym Knight Diamond. As I was explaining to you guys, that's just the lore. Like, if you're into, the storylines behind decks, I have that information for you guys, and I find that to be cool, because not only is it a deck, but it has like a story and basically, like, you can say a manga behind it, where you can actually just learn a lot more. Like, it's deeper than it looks, basically. I'll say it like that. But Gym Knight Fusion is amazing. Moving forward, we also play 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion. Now, this is a spell that just pretty much every deck's trying to find a way to abuse, but I find it to be the best in its own deck. That's why I'm very, very grateful that Konami actually never hit Brilliant Fusion. And the reason why is because obviously it's better in its own deck, and it wouldn't be fair if Gym Knights got their own spell hit by decks that weren't even playing Gym Knights, but just taking advantage of their spell, and that would nerf and neuter the playability of Gym Knights and make them less powerful, because other decks, are ruining it for my deck. So I'm very, very glad that Konami's kept this card at 3, because Gym Knights deserve this, and I feel that even though it's a great card in other decks such as Light Sworns or even just ABCs, I just feel that some decks kind of just mess it up. Like, in a way, I'll just say they ruin it for this deck, because there was a time when people were saying that this card deserves to be banned, which, it is that good, but it's better in its own deck. I'll say it like that. 1 copy of Particle Fusion. Now, this is just for the OTKs, but it basically lets you send the fusion materials listed on the fusion monster from your field or your hand. I'm sorry, just your field. And then the monster that you fusion summon off of this has its attack doubled. And the fusion summon monster, I'm sorry, it doesn't have its attack doubled. I take that back. It's even better. I'm explaining it wrong. It actually lets you target one of the monsters used as a fusion material for this, and you add that monster's attack to the fusion monster. So when I said Topaz earlier, mentioning doubling his attack, I don't know why I said that. That was inaccurate information. You can actually fuse using your fusion. For example, you can fuse using Lady Brilliant Diamond, who has 34 attack, and then target her in the graveyard. Give 34 attack to Topaz, which will actually put him at 5,200, and he can attack twice. So he's attacking for 10,400, which is game. So it's pretty amazing. Particle Fusion is very, very broken as a one-up. I just love having access to it, and you know, again, Gym Knights have so many different fusion cards, which amazing artwork. This is such a beautiful card. In fact, all of their artwork is beautiful. They're gems. I mean, dude, but this is just a game-winning card. It's just that spell that people sleep on, and most Gym Knight players actually don't even play it. In fact, I don't really even know any Gym Knight players. I know that people play it. I'm sure that people play it out there, but I'm not sure who plays it now. Moving forward to the traps, we're playing 3 of this busted baby right here, 3 Paradox Fusion. This helps out a lot now that we're in Link format, because this says in its card text, when a monster or monsters, meaning it negates the summon of multiples at once, would be special summoned, or when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated, you can negate the activation or summon, and then if you do, you banish 1 fusion monster you control, and then during the next, during the next standby? Okay, during your next end phase, you actually return that fusion monster to the field. So this helps a lot in Link format, because when a monster in your extra monster zone leaves the field and returns, it'll return back to your main monster zone, similar to Cypher Mode Omega. That's why this helps you in Link format, because it enables you to now control multiple fusions instead of the one, if you don't either have the resources to make Mrs. Radiant, or if Mrs. Radiant isn't worth it. Paradox Fusion actually clears your extra monster zone, enabling you to summon another one, and also brings it right back. So you can say that this is a free Solemn Strike. Even worse, it's just like, it's really, really broken. Let me double check. I'm sorry, it's your end phase. It's your end phase, not your standby phase. But this is an amazing counter trap. I find it to be very, very broken. I just picked it up recently. I actually haven't had this card very long. I was looking up fusion support, doing research on how to make this deck better, and I ran across this bad boy and was like, dude, this is a powerful counter trap. This allows me to play control, so this is amazing. It helps you to OTK as well, to negate your opponent's Mirror Force, or even their 9 pillars of the Yang Zing for the Dino matchup. In tandem with that, we play 3 copies of Solemn Strike, and also 1 Solemn Warning. So you play quite a few of counter traps, but because True King Dinos are actually trying to steal my babies, my Yang Zings, and run 9 pillars, you need 1 counter trap to actually bait out the activation of the 9 pillars, and then you need a secondary counter trap to actually clear the 9 pillars. So when you strike your opponent's monster, right, for example, you strike Conductor Tyranno in the battle phase, and they activate 9 pillars to stop your strike, then you can flip up Paradox Fusion, and bam, shut it down right there. That's just a example. It doesn't have to be that exact scenario or situation. But I just wanted to run all the Solemns, and Paradox Fusion itself is amazing. So this is an OTK deck, but I like to have a form of protection, with back row being, you know, the backbone to protect me just in case my field gets wiped. And also, it's never bad to have, you know, a nice hefty boss monster being protected with back row, especially being in Link format. I'll also play these spicy techs right here. 1 Proxime Fusion. This basically is just a trap polymerization. It lets you fusion summon for any Gym Knight fusion by, you know, just upon activation. So you fuse on your opponent's turn, or you can fuse in the battle phase to push for more damage. For example, if you have, just for example, let's just say she's any Gym Knight fusion, and you have Amber, you declare an attack with Amber, you declare an attack with that Gym Knight monster, then you activate this in battle phase, fuse away those 2, summon another one, and attack her hand. So it helps to increase your ceiling to end games, and it also throws your opponent off when you just activate Gym Knight Proxime Fusion and then drop an Amethyst right in front of your opponent, and then fuse again, right, and then bounce all their back rolls during the end phase. Or you can do it vice versa. If you have Amethyst, you can activate Proxime Fusion using Amethyst as one of the materials and another Gym Knight, and during your opponent's end phase, bounce all of his back rolls so that you're clear to go for your OTK next turn. So this trap is amazing. It's just an underrated card that Gem Knight players just really are sleeping on. Fragment Fusion does the same thing it fuses just basically as a trap. It's a trap fusion, except instead of, you know, sending from hand or field, it banishes the materials from the graveyard, making it a free fusion. The downside is the monster is destroyed during the end phase, but most of the time I like to use Fragment Fusion for either Amethyst, where's Amethyst at? Amethyst or Gem Knight Aquamarine, because they have effects when they're sent from the field to the graveyard. You can actually either bounce any card your opponent controls, or Amethyst, when she's sent from the field to the grave, bounces all spells or traps. I believe all of them. Yeah, all set spells or traps on the field back to the hand. So this is just really, really cool to throw your opponent off, and it does increase your ceiling, and it can be activated in the battle phase. So I just like having these tech fusion cards. I just want more ways to fuse. I love the deck. And one gem enhancement. Now this, I need to explain thoroughly. This is very, very broken. You tribute one Gem Knight monster, and then after that, you target one Gem Knight monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. Now, it's very important that you remember exactly how I worded it, because you tribute the Gem Knight monster first, so it hits the grave. Then after that, you can target the same Gem Knight monster that you tributed and special summon it back. The prime example is if you have a Gem Knight fusion such as Lapis Lazuli. Or no, let's pick a better example. Let's say you have Gem Knight Amethyst, right? You can activate Gem Enhancement, tribute her, clearing her from the extra monster zone, and then special summon her back to the main monster zone. You get what I'm saying? We're in Link format. So just keep that in mind, that it's very important to have ways to get multiple fusions on the field without relying solely on Mrs. Radiant, which I find to be insane. So Gem Knight Fusion, Gem Enhancement is actually a monster reborn of the deck, and you can even normal summon a little Gem Knight, right? Tribute this little Gem Knight and revive back a Gem Knight fusion from your grave. So this lets you just bring back anything on any Gem Knight with no restrictions at all, and it's not even once per turn, so you can play multiples. But I wanted to play real traps too, so I have my three, you know, basically spicy attacks. Breakthrough skill, because even though I have Paradox Fusion and Solemn Strike for negations, I just really don't want my opponent activating any monster effects. This is kind of like a control/OTK deck. And one Torrential Tribute to sum up the trap lineup. Torrential Tribute is just a trap that your opponent is going to have no choice but to play into. It's amazing. The extra deck is a little weird because I actually have two proxies. I am actually proxying my, no, three proxies, I'm sorry. I'm proxying my Gem Knight Topaz. I could not find him when I looked through my scraps to rebuild my extra deck, because my extra deck was torn apart. I was lending, you know, my Gem Knight Seraphonite to my Light Torrents, and just a bunch of other stuff. I couldn't find my Topaz, so I have to proxy for Topaz. And these two Link Spiders are actually Mrs. Radiance. They're proxies. I don't have enough Mrs. Radiance to go around. I have two, and both of them are being used in different decks. So yeah, just keep that in mind, that these are Mrs. Radiance, and this is Gem Knight Topaz, the fusion that lets you attack twice. I'm sorry that I'm proxying. I really never do it, and notice that all of my deck profiles are actually live. I don't do anything online or Yugioh Pro or anything like that. So all of these cards, you know, you get to actually see it, and I spend money on it. So, you know, please forgive me for that, and that is kind of my excuse. I mean, everything's live, so please let me make it this one time. 2 copies of Lady Brilliant Diamond. She's amazing. She basically lets you send any Gem Knight monster you control to the grave and special summon one Gem Knight fusion from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is amazing. She can even be sent. She can send herself. You can activate Brilliant Fusion, dumping Lazuli and something else and add to your hand. Bring her out, use her, and then get any Gem Knight fusion you want, regardless of its fusion requirements. So she's amazing. And she's a 3400 beat stick. I just love her. She's actually the best fusion in the extra deck. Continuing with the females, we play Seraphonite, Lapis Lazuli, and also Amethyst. Lapis Lazuli can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each special summon monster on the field. Now that we're in Link format, everybody can actually control 6 monsters. So the maximum damage that this card has the capability to produce is 6,000. That's the maximum. But there's a combo where you can actually use her effect to burn your opponent, and she sends a Gem Knight monster from your deck or your extra deck to the grave to activate as cost. So you use her effect, you can discard Lazuli, use Lazuli to add back from your grave to your hand using her effect. Burn your opponent, for example, for 2,000, fuse her away, summon Gem Knight Master Diamond, and use his effect to banish any Gem Knight fusion that's level 7 or lower. His name becomes the name and his effect becomes the effect. So then you can activate his effect as Lapis Lazuli and burn your opponent a secondary time, which is how you can OTK without actually attacking. but you can do all that burn damage first and then attack. So this deck is very, very dangerous to play against. But these are my females. I want to categorize the fusions actually by sex, like male and female. Then the dudes, we have the king himself. The king and the queen are amazing. Master Diamond is like so broken. He basically is just any gym knight, and he's a beater. He gains 100 attack for each gym monster in your graveyard, so you can become huge. 2 copies of Zirconia. He's the level 8 and basically vanilla 2900 beater. 2 copies of Prismar. Prismar is amazing. He requires a thunder to make, and he can pop any face-up card. I love him. 1 Citrine. Citrine is basically your Utopia the Lightning / Armades. Your opponent can't activate anything when he attacks until the end of the battle phase. Until the end of the damage step. So there's nothing your opponent can do, not even floaters. For example, Yang Zings, if he destroys it, it won't float. So he's just a really, really clutch card. 1 Gem Knight Aquamarine. I love this because he attacks, and if after he attacks, he goes to defense similar to Dante. And if he goes to the grave, you bounce any card your opponent controls. This is my Gem Knight Topaz. So Aquamarine requires Sapphire as one of its materials, which is really, really cool. Sapphire is unique for that reason, because this is Sapphire's fusion, and this is Topaz. He has Tamarines in his hand, and he looks just like Tourmaline, and he can attack twice. He comes out at 1800, but if you particle fusion, you can just bring him out at huge amounts of huge attack, and then he's a present attack twice. And the last 2 monsters to sum up the extra deck are actually the 2 Mrs. Radiance, which are Link Spider proxies. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I appreciate you for showing love to the channel. God bless you. Be safe. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. I love y'all. Have a wonderful day. Mwah.